That was the nod that we started filming. All right. Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Andrew and this is the ExtraAmo channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the Sig P211 GTO. Let's get started. Okay, so first I should preface, I'm not really a 2011 guy. This is actually the first good 2011 I've ever owned. And for those of you who are clever, write down in the comments, what's the difference between a 1911 and a 2011? And I know some of you are going to say that the Prodigy counts, it doesn't. Anywho's, 2011. Sig has decided to make a pistol to operate in that space that takes, very, very coolly, the 320 max, which is rad because I don't have another use for these because, you know, they're just going off or whatever. But this is my first forte into a 2011 of any kind that's not like a really budget one. So we'll see if I like it. But you have to bear with me because it's not my bag, all right? So like this might not be as smooth as you're used to. But anyhows, let's see how she shoots. Oh, miss. There we go. Nice. Woo. Definitely smooth. I definitely like it. I'm not giving it back. Okay, so I've seen a fair number of comparisons on the internet between this gun and the Staccato XC, I think it is. I'm not a 2011 guy. I'm going to leave comparisons to other 2011s to those guys. But what I thought would be cool is to compare this to the Canik, specifically the TTI Combat Special model. Now, I don't own one of those, but my buddy Braden has been very gracious and is allowing me to borrow his for this video. So I'm going to shoot this with a timer so we can have a little bit of a baseline. And then I'm going to shoot that with a timer so we can see the same thing. Now, probably not going to be awesome times, to be honest, but it'll give us some comparison. This is a not 2011 guy's take on these two pistols. I don't shoot them very much, so now I'm going to see if I'm going to embarrass myself. All right. Cool. Okay, so now I have switched out to the Canik TTI Combat. Very, very cool. And I do have the mechanic optic here. And we'll talk about all this in a sec, but it's a pretty good analog for what I just shot with the SRO. Why? Because this is sort of their copy of that optic, big window, that sort of thing. I am able to, ooh, there's a little earthworm. Whew, got him. But I was able to switch out without having to change holsters because I got this Filster floodlight holster. Very useful if you're like me and you're always switching pistols. And of course, it's on the Safariland QLS. Very cool stuff. Also, Safariland. ELS. Very cool. I'll do a gear loadout some other time. But before we get into it, that 5 shots were a wonderful 3.73 seconds. So let's see how I do with 5 shots on this guy. Ooh. 4.49. A little slower, definitely felt snappier. Now, I'm new to both of these, so I'm still figuring out how to work the trigger and all of that other stuff. So let's not assume much of anything until we go check out the targets. Now, hopefully, I'm somewhere in the, ooh, all right. Okay, good. All right, so most of this is small. I must have hit a steel target and ricocheted out here. But looks like with my fancy new 2011, I am pulling it low left. And with this guy, I was able to get them all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the A zone. So what does that tell me? Well, I feel like I was faster with the 2011, but This has the 2-stage Glock style trigger that I've got tons and tons and tons and tons of rounds on. So even though this was a little faster, a little less snappy, what have you, looks like there's something to be said about a competition gun that mirrors the carry gun, or the gun that you have the most experience on. Because again, never having really shot this gun very much at all in the A zone at 15 to 20-ish yards, inside of 4.5 seconds ain't great. But this, okay, cool, super fast, second faster. Now I'm pulling low left, right? Like a rookie. So, what's that mean? Well, maybe Braden and I will have a conversation about that in a bit. Okay, so maybe I'm not as bad at shooting as we thought. I'm not sure what happened here. We did switch up some ammo when I was zeroing this earlier, but it seems like, slow fire here, I'm off to the left. So perhaps our group from over there, yes, I'm pulling it low, but maybe I'm not pulling it quite as far left as I thought. So I'm going to adjust the zero. I'm going to shoot some more, see if maybe I can fix at least a little bit of the problems with this. Try again. Malfunction! It didn't go back into battery after that super cool reload I just did. So let's do like a sweet 1R1, like shooting, ding. No problem that time. Okay, so now I'm gonna do another drill, a couple of double tap pairs, right? And before we get into it, I know my time's not gonna be good. And I know there are people out there already, and you wanna say, hey, if you can't shoot well, you don't deserve a gun this nice. And I would say to those people, maybe they should spend less time shooting and get a job. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I know I don't deserve this. All right, let's do it. That was 3 shots, not 2, but I meant to do that. 451. All right. So, little less to the left. So at least that's not a problem. We fixed that. But it does seem like I'm still pulling one. Felt the pull on that. Seems like maybe I overcorrected a little bit up, but I'm still getting a wide grip. Most likely what's happening is I'm not gripping this gun tight enough because I can't quite figure out where to get my support thumb yet. It doesn't have a spot like my fancy 226. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm just not a 2011 guy. I will figure it out, I'm sure. And I mean, honestly, if you shoot the gun slow, it's a laser beam, but I'm just not very good yet. So I gotta shoot some more. Okay, so let's break it down. The Sig Sauer P211 GTO. Now, silver grips, silver trigger. Ones that are currently available that do not come with the optic have the silver accents. I didn't buy this with an optic on it, so it's not the cool blacked out one. And there's the new Combat or Tactical, I think it's Combat model, that is all FDE, they just announced. So of course I pre-ordered one into the shop, so eventually we'll have it. But 2011, very cool that it comes not just with a 320 magazine, but a 23 rounder, a little bit of extension on here. Not so cool is getting these is a pain. I would think that they would have been made available as soon as this gun was, so that, I could have at least a couple of them if I was competing or whatever, running the same magazines. Of course, I could just switch to the 21 rounders or the 30 rounders that fit in the standard 320, but that's a problem in that, they stick out weird, and if you've got a cool mag, you want all the capacity and you want to run that mag, and just having one is a little bit of a bummer. In true premium Sig gun fashion, it only came with one of the cool mag. Now, Sig for a long time has only been giving you like one mag with some of the really good guns. This one did come with 3, but 2 of them were the lame 320, 21 rounders that have been available forever. You'd think it would come with 3 of the mags, especially at the price point. But I guess that's a minor complaint because they will be available eventually. I will order a bunch of them into our shop and I'll have them and it'll be great. But you'd think that they would just sequence the launch a little bit better. This came out at Sig Next. It's been like 6 months since that came out. So, you know, it's a thing. It's a thing. Anyways, all of these have your standard sort of compensator thus far. Every model comes with a compensator on it. I don't necessarily think you need a compensator on a 9mm gun unless you are trying to eke out those fractions of a second in a competition. So for a competition gun setup, fantastic. Run the compensator. I had no issues with it. I mean, honestly, like, all joking aside, this is the smoothest shooting gun, 9mm, I have ever shot. Like, even better than my 226 competition gun. It's smoother. And I really like that. I mean, it was shooting 124 grain. I was not shooting the lightest loads up possible. And it's super, super flat. Safety is ambidextrous on this. Super easy to actuate. No problems there. What I didn't particularly like is this ambidextrous slide catch. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if I've got just short thumbs, but I had a really hard time actuating that. So, you know, in a competition setting, yeah, that's something you want to actuate. So I don't know if you noticed, but I just was racking it like standard when I did a reload. It's a way to do it, but I got kind of a little bit frustrated hunting with my thumb. Trigger on this is a single stage, which is, you know, standard in the 1911-2011 space. I think it's just I'm not used to it. It's very, very nice, very crisp, very on point. I don't really have much to say about it. Pros or cons. It's what I expected. A gun of this caliber should have a good trigger, and it does. So fantastic. Beyond that, I've got a Trijicon SRO on here. Really big window, really nice dot. Maybe not as durable as some of the other options out there, but again, for a competition setting, this is cool. I like a big window. I like this. I like the RMR HD. I did originally have a Sig lock optic on this, the enclosed emitter new one that ended up on another gun, but you'll hear about that later. But I ended up going with this because, again, this gun is not going to be a carry gun for me. It's not a duty gun. It's just for, you know, for competing and shooting tiny groups. So I like it. I need to shoot it more. I don't particularly like that the mags are not available. I don't particularly like that the ambi slide release doesn't work as well for me. Everything else checks out, though. One thing, though, that is a little bit interesting is finding holsters for it. Now, I lucked out. It does fit in the Filster floodlight, like I mentioned before, which is super cool. Problem is that not every gun fits in the Filster floodlight, and sometimes you want other features that this does not support. I like this. I like the Safari Lane QLS system. But having to always, right, use like a multi-fit holster every time I get something new, it gets a little frustrating. And I have not seen a ton of support for holsters for this yet. So I'll have to keep an eye out. And if any of you have recommendations for holsters that work, put them down in the comments. For now, I've been Andrew. This is the Extra Ammo channel. And thank you for coming to my lead talk.